was one phrase that you made mention on your Instagram post, which was mental health illness or challenges doesn't know age, gender, social class, status quo. It's affecting everyone.
We tend to sometimes make it look like the people are so special, or they might not have taken care of themselves, henceforth they ended up developing it. But it has no correlation in that sense, because both of us are just a thin thread away from experiencing the mental health challenges. It took me 4 years to actually know my true purpose in life.
For my whole 37 years in life, I do not know my purpose. Last year was when I had to really sit down to know who I am.
If you don't know your purpose in life and you try so many stuff and it's not working out, you become frustrated. It's going to affect your mental health. When it comes to healthcare information, it doesn't thrive on virality. It doesn't thrive on sensationalism. It's all about presenting the information. The least that you can actually end up doing is actually having a hearing ear to the person by not judging the person. If someone is actually experiencing a mental health challenge, you don't want to tell the person, stop talking, you're talking too much. That is the worst thing you can ever do. It's a killer. And it has helped me to become less judgmental of people. It has made me become more understanding of people, but that doesn't mean it has made me become more tolerant of people, because I have to also have that boundary of making sure that I am not also putting a burden of what people are actually hailing on me to have an effect on my own mental health.
Globally, over 1 billion people live with a mental disorder, with anxiety and depression being the most common conditions. In this episode of Lifestyle with Fiifi, we have Kwame, an award-winning mental health advocate, transformational speaker, clinical pharmacist, and content creator committed to breaking the stigma surrounding mental health. This show is brought to you by Studio 88 Live.
So Kwame, you're welcome.
Thank you, Fiifi, for making it happen, because it's been ages since we've been talking about it behind the scenes, but here we are today, and by God's grace, it's actually happening finally. So
Kwame, I saw this. I mean, we became friends on social media, and I was so attracted to the way that you make mental health content creation more appealing to people, because you make it so easy for people to relate to. And there was one phrase that you made mention on your Instagram post, which was mental health illness or challenges doesn't know age, gender, social class, status quo. It's affecting anyone. And can you elaborate more about this to my viewers?
So this code that Fiifi has actually shared is something that I was using to let people know that when it comes to our mental health and people who face the challenges or illness, we are no different from them. We tend to sometimes make it look like the people are so special, or they might not have taken care of themselves, henceforth they ended up developing it. But it has no correlation in that sense, because both of us are just a thin thread away from experiencing the mental health challenges. But it's because we have put certain measures in place, i.e. we've got people that we can speak to, people that we can share our difficult moments with, and also because maybe we can afford a certain kind of lifestyle which makes us happy. That's the reason why we have not reached that stage in our life. But that was trying to wake people up to stop stigmatizing people with facing mental health challenge, or people who might have been diagnosed with those kind of challenges and they are being treated with a medication or therapy. So that was more of like a wake-up call to remind people that we have to treat every single person, even if they develop a mental health condition, with value, with respect, and also with dignity, because any of us can fall into their position. So that was what I was trying to imply.
Kwame, you are lucky to be an advocate and as well as studied in the field of mental health, of which you are
a pharmacist who is actually practicing a mental health trust, but is got the vision of,
What motivated you to get into this profession?
I tell people this, it's actually a two folded kind of story. Initially, getting into pharmacy, everybody who's been following me, or if it's their first time, pharmacy, or my passion for pharmacy, was born out of my mom's diagnosis with type 2 diabetes, which, being the eldest son, I was the one always going to the pharmacy to pick up her medication.
Okay.
And it was very, very fascinating because most of the time I saw the kind of service that they were providing and how my mom has been able to get that kind of service for a longer period of time and has prolonged her life expectancy. Because from the conversation that I've had with her, most of the people that she grew up with who were diagnosed with diabetes, unfortunately, are not alive because, one, they couldn't get a proper care, and two, the treatment was expensive. That was back home in Ghana. So for her to be in this country and to be supported by the NHS and people who know how the NHS free prescription service works, if someone has got a condition like diabetes, they don't pay for their prescription. So for her to have these kind of free service and it's prolonging her life, it's increasing her life expectancy and also increasing the quality of her life, it made me feel like this is a profession that I want to be in. Coming on the side of mental health, it was born out of me trying to find my purpose within pharmacy. Because after my mom's condition, I realized that there are other specialties that I can find myself into. And I did my work experience back at university in a mental health trust, which I was grateful to God to be working alongside one of my lecturers who really got me to become very, very motivated to be in the field of mental health, because she's a mental health pharmacist herself, and at the same time she's a lecturer. So she guided me, and getting me to be able to have that 2 days experience was something that was showing me what the pharmacist does on that side. And coincidentally, at that time, I chanced on one story that many of us didn't understand the reason behind it. It's a story of a young lady who was contesting to become the president of the Students Representative Council in Ghana, which we call SRC. But if it was here in the UK, it would be the Students' Union President. It's something big of you being representative of all the students in the university, you being quote unquote their boss, So it was something that all of us thought that it was cloud chasing, because right now on the internet, lots of people.
It was University of Cape Coast.
It was University of Cape Coast.
That's the university.
Because a lot of people do know about it, because I didn't want to actually delve, but she's come out to say much about her story about it. That is Abna Koko. Shout out to her. And she did that, and with me, I was fascinated. I knew a lot of people were saying it was for cloud chasing, and with me personally, I wanted to know.
To be honest, even she was my junior back in I think a year. I was ahead, and before I thought it was cloud chasing until she opened up.
Fantastic. So it was her story that she told on KSM, and I'm a big avid listener and watcher of KSM show, because I pick a lot of advice and a lot of tips in life. Exactly. Sure. Uncle KSM, if you're watching this, you are actually doing a great job. So after watching her story and her talking about how she herself didn't know that she had bipolar, but it was after one vacation that when she went home and she was experiencing episodes, that's when she got taken to Tema, and the doctor broke up to her that she has had bipolar throughout her whole life. So that made me started to build my interest that, wait, such an intelligent young lady, and everybody who has come across her,
very intelligent.
Everybody will tell you how beautiful and intelligent that she is. She's a very nice soul.
Eloquent.
Exactly. And everybody who has gone in touch with her, watched her, would know that this is an intelligent young lady.
I mean, she has been on TV.
Exactly.
Screen, her level of eloquence is top notch.
Exactly. But a lot of people were more zoomed on the other side of the story, whereby she was name dropping certain people about the experiences that she has had. But I was seeing beyond that, because when I got to understand that this is what she has, everything made sense to me with the name dropping. Not saying that the people that she has named, because I am not a witness of it, not saying that they didn't do it or they did it, but I was more focused on her personality, that she's an intelligent young lady and this has happened. So after her watching the interview, it made me build my journey into advocacy, because it made me realize that this is not something that is really much talked about in our community, both in the UK and in Ghana.
In the Black community.
In the Black community in totality. And I did understand that it was born out of stigmatism. And also, it was born out of lots of people having the spiritual connotations attached to it. So they don't want to hear it. That they didn't know that it was sidelining certain people in the community, that if someone has got a mental health condition, they're not welcome around people, you know. So it made me realize that. So as this is actually going on, we're not talking about it, God forbid, right? What if it happens to me or any of my relatives? Is that how I'm going to be treated? So it made me realize that if no one is talking about it, then I need to put my feet on the ground, because one, I have actually had a work experience. I've seen it. Two, I mean, I've had my placement. Two, I've seen this young lady being interested. That means my interest is building up. Then unfortunately, someone very close to me as well, around the time of my advocacy, developed that. And I personally have also had a phase of depression, which I had never talked about it until 2018, when the person closer to me experienced, and I had to actually come out to talk about my own experience, because I felt that talking about my own experience at least would let the person know that they're not alone. I've been in that same position before, and by God's grace,
I've also been in this same position, because
fantastic.
The whole journey of conversation, I needed to get myself in a good mood before, because it's been like 4 months and I keep going, Kwame, I'm not in the perfect space to talk about it, which is, it means mental health can affect anybody. Anybody.
So when I started that, it started to gain the momentum. People started coming into my DMs, they thinking that I'm a therapist, I am a doctor. But at that time, I was second year at university. And all the time, one of the advice we've been given as healthcare professionals is practice within your scope of competence. I don't need to step beyond my scope of competence to show that I'm smart or I can do it. Because any advice that I give to anyone, whether online or in person, I'm responsible for it. If anything happens to the person. So I made sure that at that early stage, I need to draw the boundary where I can. So most of the time, I was signposting people where they can get help. So I became the go-to person. I had DMs of someone wanted me to recommend a Black therapist. And that time, I had no clue about any therapy in London or even in the UK. And it was coming from a lady who wanted a Black therapist for a Black man. You know, so it made me start to realize that lots of people are going through it silently, and it's eating into our families, and it's getting closer and closer. Then why should we be silent about it? Why doesn't this get the attention, the needed attention, rather than us, you know, trying to sneak and have this kind of conversation, rather than it being a mainstream? So as time went on, it started gaining momentum. I started getting the attention, and big shout out to my mentor, Nana Churcher, who always used her platform to be able to add a voice to my advocacy. And when I get opportunity to be on the screen as well, I made sure that I trumpet it. So as time went on, graduated from university, and since as far back as second year at university, it has always been my dream of practicing as a pharmacist within the mental health field. It's not an old field, it's actually a novel field. Therefore, not a lot of people know that even in terms of mental health, someone can specialize to become a pharmacist, or even in terms of pharmacists, someone can specialize to become a mental health pharmacist. So I shared that kind of interest. A lot of people saw the momentum that was adding. So finding myself working in that space made me realize that I'm working in purpose, as written in my t-shirt. And I'm also walking into a space that I enjoy, to be able to make a difference in people's life. And also, I wanted to become a very accessible to within my community, to make sure that even if I'm not able to solve the whole problem, at least I'm a conversation starter, and I did something to be able to take this kind of pain or this kind of silence within the community for a longer period of time to now becoming a welcoming conversation. And so far, by God's grace, it has transitioned into other stuff I'm doing, which I believe we will delve much into it as the conversation goes on.
Well, you're a smart guy, because you skipped my next question. You answered it. I was about to ask you, what's your core mission, your activism when it comes to mental health, of which you have summarized it very well in there. Or do you want to add more to it?
I want to add more to it, because I believe someone, apart from me talking about my purpose, someone watching this to kind of can also get to know about their purpose in life, because nowadays, whenever you go on the internet, most of the stuff that you read on people's story is they want to know their purpose. They are trying to find their purpose, because we live in a world whereby social media has made it easy for us to be able to delve into other people's life, like not like in detail, but a snapshot. So it ends up making a conclusion in people's life, or people tend to take it upon themselves to think or make that judgment upon themselves that they're failing in life because they're using someone else's journey to compare theirs. It took me 4 years to actually know my true purpose in life. And if anyone has actually seen me throwing about this acronym shelf, it's not a bookshelf, as people may actually translate it to be, or as the internet may translate it. But shelf, that 5-lettered acronym, is actually my purpose, which stands for to speak, to heal, to educate, to lead, and to fight. And all these purposes transcends across my my advocacy and everything I do in life. You know, so to speak, what do I do? I'm a very, very avid speaker, and when it comes to activism, even beyond mental health, there are other things that I've added my voice to make sure that it gains that kind of momentum for people to discuss. When it comes to healing, that's what I do as a pharmacist. You know, people bring their conditions. I make sure that I am able to assess them, make their recommended medication they have to take, or signpost them to the right healthcare professional for them to get the right treatment. Educate. I use my platform, and right now I'm getting opportunities like seminars to be able to lead university, be part of university conversations when it comes to mental health, to lead. I believe that conversations like what I had with Concordia European Summit 2025 actually shows the kind of leader that I'm actually becoming. All the time I tell people, and that's something a lot of people have observed about me, they tell me that I don't wait to be given a title. I don't wait to be given a button that it's time for you to lead. I step out of my own shelf and lead, which I believe is something natural. I've heard a lot of people say it in so many ways growing up, and even at this age. People even ask me whether, which I'll pause over there because I don't know about it.
To be honest, it got a time even I was like, when you made mention of that, I was like, you're too young to be doing all these things. Of which brings to the level of purpose. Of which I am 37 years old. I got to age 37 for me to know my real purpose in life. For my whole 37 years in life, like, I do not know my purpose. Last year was when I had to really sit down to know who I am, how I was wired, how do I react to certain things, how do I let go of certain things. And I was able to sit down and go like, do you know what? My purpose in life is to serve. Yes, and it's something that's, as you said, a lot of people, both young and old, a lot of people are in this world, even they don't know their purpose in life.
And that's what ends up bringing to the start of our conversation about mental health. Because if you don't know your purpose in life and you try so many stuff and it's not working out, you become frustrated. It's going to affect your mental health, because all the time you wake up, you want something to work, but it's not. But if you truly know your purpose and you are connected to your source, which is God, because I'm a big believer of the word of God, and I have faith in God, which a lot of people surrounding me will know how many times and how much all the time, whenever things are not going well, even things that are supposed to go well and it's supposed to happen, it hasn't. I always tell them that I leave it in the hands of God. Not because I believe that I want to, I don't believe in myself, but at the end of the day, it's God who walked me through that 4 years journey and spoke through a friend who basically told me to pray to God, because I'm doing a lot of stuff and I need to find out if they're interlinked, because you don't want to be doing so many stuff and later on in life realize that I don't have interest in this. But ever since I knew my purpose, I don't feel rushed about things. I just sit down. Sometimes I'll be there and there'll be a lot of brainstorming. Then I'll be sitting there quietly. People may think, oh, why are you quiet? I'm thinking, like, I'm waiting the next step that God wants to take me on. And all the time, I make sure that I am assessing the projects that God is giving me, that is making sense, to make sure that I'm not just doing it for doing sake, but I'm doing it to ensure that I'm fulfilling my purpose on earth. Because one of my biggest saying is that I want to make sure that I leave this earth empty, that I've fulfilled and I've served God to my fullest capacity, that when I'm called in front of God and he asks that, what did you use the talent for? And I'll be able to show him the evidence, which is even written in the Bible about one of the parable of the sowers, whereby some of the sowers were given seeds and the master was asking them about how they utilize the seed. Some people went to put it under their bed. Some people went to actually plant it on the actual soil. Some people actually planted it on the side of the road and it didn't. By the end of the day, the one who planted it on the soil and watered it and made sure that it was well catered for, when it was time for harvest, he was able to present something. And that is what, when I knew about my purpose, I have not played with it and I keep on staying focused. Anything that is encircling my purpose, I'm open and I'm always there to be able to make sure that I do it.
Yeah. The previous video that I posted was about finding your purpose in life, of which I did with Norma. So guys, you can go and watch it. Of which, Kwame, congratulations to you.
Thank
this
you.
year has been like some elevation in your content creation.
Yes.
I look at your social media, I go like this man is top notch.
Thank you.
You are taking over the space.
Thank you.
How is your content creation process as a mental health? Because one thing that I know about you is verification of information. There are sometimes that there are some content creation, some information out there, and I send it to you. You're like, no, Fiifi, this is fake. How are you able to verify your information, and how is your content creation like as a mental health activist?
Thank you very much, Fiifi. Firstly, I will give big props to you. To my viewers, I would like you and I to be able to give thanks to Fiifi for me, because one thing that Fiifi did that I didn't see coming and I was blown was I received a DM on Instagram, and this person was commending me about the stuff. Most of the time people commend me and I really appreciate it, and I don't take it lightly as well, because it helps to keep the work going. But Fiifi went beyond it and shared the story and told me that, you know what, for the work you're doing and for everything that you're doing, one thing I can do to support, to make sure that your work goes far, is me providing my studio to you to use it for 10 hours. And I believe it even went beyond 10 hours, because Fiifi made sure that he supported fully. He made me understand the content creation process. So all the time, even if I'm not able to shoot, coming into Studio 88 was a hub for me to be able to brainstorm, because some content were coming because you were creative and I'm a creative as well. But I believe that you have been in the field of creativity. You have been on the front line with all the experience. So all the time, I make sure that I'm surrounding myself with creative people to be able to start brainstorming. What is Fiifi doing? How is he doing his stuff? What can I pick up from that can be added to my help content creation that will make it stand out? So if you see all of these content creation, you are part of the journey and you have contributed massively. On the other side of it as well,
I think most majority goes to you, because your passion and your delivery and the way that you go about with your content creation is what really, because I see a lot of content creators in the mental health, but you make it more relatable, and the zeal and the passion that you talk about it was like, you know what? Let's collaborate. And that is something that a lot of people don't know how to do. Collaborate.
Exactly.
Because we are all serving.
We're all serving. As you made mention, you are all serving, and you've served that purpose really, really well. And there's something that,
because at that moment in my life, I was going through a lot of depression, and I needed someone to be a voice. Because talking to you, we shared stories.
Exactly.
I was able to get some of my healings through the conversations and other things, of which I was like, this is very impactful. So and later you have become a what do you call it, a client.
Exactly. I become part of the family of Studio 88, and you're gonna see more content that's coming out of here. And if you've seen all my content, especially the one that I'm wearing, the black t-shirt, is coming from here, Studio 88. So if you need a booking, please come here in Croydon. So asking of how I'm able to verify information, with me, this is a funny story. I'll take you back.
And one thing is, you don't also wait for the algorithm. No. You create. That is something that I was like,
I've got a story to that as well. I'll definitely share it through this. So I'll take you back to my days in Ghana, and with me, I love stories. I love news, and I love authentic news. I always feel like I should be the first person to, break the news. So if I was in the media space, BBC and Sky News would have had a very big, would have actually have a big competitor. In those who are watching this, who knows much about sports, there's someone called Fabrizio. Fabrizio in sports is the authentic source when it comes to sports information. Any deal, any player is signing, whether they're renewing their contract, whether they're leaving, everybody wants to confirm. Is it from Fabrizio? If it's not from Fabrizio, then I'm not. So far as it's from Fabrizio and it's not on the player's page, it's confirmed. Okay. It's going to happen. Okay. Even if the player doesn't post, give it 2-3 days, the player will get over it and post it. So, taking it back, every information or every news that was happening in the school, I was the first person to break it. And all the time, my source was right. So, I became that go-to. Have you heard about it? They say if Kwame hasn't heard about it and it's not confirmed, they forget about it. It's wrong. So, that credibility was building from there. And if we make mention, my name, like, which is Osei Owusu Kwame. When I was young, one of my teachers used to call me Despite.
Okay.
I used not to understand, why is this man calling me Despite? I thought I was made, because when I was in year 5, I used to make a lot of oratory errors. I was saying words wrong. So I thought I've made an error mentioning the word Despite. But I never knew that my name was actually linked to Despite Media, which is Osei Kwame, Despite Peace FM and Despite Media. Shout out to them. So it made that kind of tag about media authenticity when it comes to news surrounding me. And every history behind everything within that space, I knew it. So it used to be very funny, and I used to hate it whereby people used to tag me. They used to tag me as an information minister. They thought I was going to be the information minister or something.
Do you know what? Your lifestyle does not seem like a pharmacist. You roll like someone who knows entertainment. Sometimes I just, when we are having conversation, do you know what? You better put your,
but it's also needed. It's a skill. That's
the stereotype that I have for people who work in the medical field.
You're not the only one, because family-wise, some of my cousins have made mention of it. Sometimes people talk about it that, you shouldn't be a pharmacist, you should be a politician. Sometimes people say that you should be entertainment. And with me, I love stories. As I made mention, I love stories. So I used to spend my money on buying newspapers. And strange enough, there was a newspaper in Ghana. In my whole entire class, I'll be the only one to buy it. But those were the news that people were frowning on. Hey, I wanted lifestyle. I wanted to know the lifestyle of celebs. So I'll buy that newspaper. I've forgotten the name of it, but if it pops up.
And as you said, that made you more relatable to people, because most of your content story is not like more of like heavy. It's more of, if I'm listening to it, I can just take it like from your short stories, from your 1 minute Instagram stories or posts, reels. Like for instance, when you start, I'm able to relate to it. I don't go off it, like, you know what, this is too heavy for me. Of which, because you made your life more easy access to people. It's like you're talking about entertainment, then I go like, you're talking about events, and which is good.
Because those were the little skills I never knew. So recently, when I started with this whole kind of content creation, it made sense, because who are the big media? Right now, the new media and the big media is content creators. Talk of one of the people who inspires me a lot with content creation, and now is a big media house in Ghana, is KSS, Konyo Studios, which those who know me knows that this story will always never go untold, because I make sure that I follow those people, because every single time after work, when I want to listen to anything in Ghana, back then it was Ghana Web, I'll go on Ghana Web and I will listen to the news, what's happening in Ghana, I'll go Google, search them. But right now, KSS has made it accessible. He has made news that should actually be triggering people, that should be adding some form of emotions. He has made it easy for us to digest it. Not that he's making it funny, but he adds some level of humor and some kind of sensationalism attached to it. So you are able to easily to be able to break it down and understand. And that's the kind of skill that I've adopted from them, be it sports, be it entertainment, be it lifestyle, be it main news. They'll know how to break it down. So those were the kind of skills that I was pulling from different sides, and I watch other YouTubers like KSI, how he makes his presence be known on the social media and everything. So I realized that these are some of the people that I can pull, and obviously I actually follow some of the old heads when it comes to the media space in Ghana, like the likes of Bolare, Nathaniel Atto, Paula Domotre.
My former boss.
You get what I'm trying to say? All these people, I'm not only looking at their news, I'm also looking at their lifestyle. I'm looking at how they dress. All of these makes them always want me to hear more about them and want to follow how they even conduct their interviews, because all the time, whenever I'm watching an interview that has been conducted by these three men, I don't want to skip. Because the moment I skip, I've lost the big information, like the humor part of it. Like they make it want you to sit in front of them, you know. And I've got one funny story. One time, way back, I've even sent me a message about that. It's like, you should have come. Bolare came to UK, and I think it was to do with one of the events. So I was on the bus, and I saw him in North London. So I was not meant to get off from the bus, right?
But you got off.
But I was like, I was left with about 2 stops for me to get off. But I was like, you know what? This is the guy I've been watching. Let me just go and say hello to him. He's in my city. So I quickly got off, and I saw him climb the stairs to go and sit in a restaurant. And I believe in privacy. So what I did was, I never even took a picture or video, because I was like, I'm invading, because lots of people were like, that's creepy. Why do you take a video of me in public? Maybe the person that he's sitting with in the public, once it gets into the public domain, people will interpret it into something else.
You should have approached, because Bola.
So this is what he told me. So I went when he wrote his book, and he was actually saying, I wanted badly his book. I've still not got it. I need to get it. So I messaged him, and he's a very nice person on social media. I messaged him, and I was like, I actually addressed him by his because Bolare is his showbiz name, so I actually addressed him by Mr. DCI. So I was like, oh, you should have come. I was like, wow, that's how nice this guy is. So all these people, I draw influence from the trained journalists, I draw influence from the new content creators, and I draw influence from in the healthcare space. And one thing about healthcare is,
and thanks to Bolare, he was the first media boss to get me a media role in Ghana. I was head of programming for Empire FM, and I just approached him. So
he believes in the youth.
He believes in the youth.
And henceforth, you have actually set up his entrepreneurship with
so
Bola.
All the creative ideas that I have, thanks to Empire FM.
Fantastic.
EIB Network. I learned a lot when I was there for my 4 years as someone who controls programming and production.
Fantastic. So when it comes to healthcare information, it doesn't thrive on virality. It doesn't thrive on sensationalism. It's all about presenting the information. It's facts, right? Because as scientists, which I am one, we cannot falsify information. Falsifying information is as deadly as giving someone a wrong drug.
Okay.
And if you are found doing that, you could be arrested and you could lose your license for it. So we have to make sure that if paracetamol has been formulated for treating pain, I cannot go elsewhere and come and tell someone that paracetamol is used for treating a condition like, let's say, diabetes. Not pain in diabetes, but diabetes as a condition. That's me throwing people off. But you would assert to it that in our current generation, a lot of people are doing those kind of stuff to draw people's attention. Even thumbnails, the title, someone can actually end up saying that, oh, can paracetamol treat diabetes? Because it's a new information, everybody will drive to go and watch it. And at the end of the day, he'll be like, guys, I was doing this for that. In science and in health content creation, it's not like that. The moment you start doing that, your page or you as a personality, the role that you are playing in your 9-to-5 role, you could lose it because you are not representing their profession in the best limelight. You can talk about certain things which are not brought to light, but by falsifying information or by clickbaiting information just for the attention of people is so wrong. If you were a patient or you were a client, you wouldn't trust me to come to my pharmacy because if this is what I'm doing on the internet, how much more in the real life? Would you come to me for that? So I make sure that the information that I'm presenting in my content creation is well researched. I've read about it. I understand it. That anytime that someone approaches me, I can tell them the source of where I found the information. And I make sure that in our university days, we were taught how to sieve information, because for literature review, for we to write our dissertation, literature review, we are taught how to sieve information through, and you have to be able to present it to your dissertation tutor about how you found the information. So imagine I've written something wrong in my dissertation, because that dissertation could fall the foundation to a future research. So if I am putting an information in my content creation, it's the same as me putting it in my dissertation, because someone is going to read it, someone is going to listen to it. Because recently I've seen some influencers or content creators who are drifting to talk about healthcare issues. There's nothing wrong with that, you know. It's good that you are providing information, but provide information within your scope of understanding. Don't go in that detail whereby you might get it wrong, because if you get it wrong, you have basically misinformed your followers. And that is where our job as healthcare professionals become difficult, because this person will present this information as if it's a well-detailed research. And in real life, the person does not want to listen to me as a healthcare professional that, oh, you want me to die, or you don't want us to tell her the truth, oh, there's a cure for this, and you guys are hiding it. No. So why don't we as healthcare professionals step into that space, give the relevant information, give the authentic information that will make the public have the trust in us? Because if we have got a content creator who is solely creating content on mental health, and it's a valid and credible information, when the person is going to the hospital and going for the appointment, the only thing they need to do is to just sit in front of the doctor, listen to whatever that they need to listen to. And even if they don't understand, they know that there's a content creator who is creating content about mental health and educating, who is a trusted one. And I can also solidify my understanding of what the doctor talked about the condition. I can find a video online which is trustworthy to be able to do it. So that has been that mission. And thank God I've been part of YouTube creators, and I'm using all my resources and my strength to be able to go behind this full course, which I'm also part of, World Health Organization, FIDES, which is also another organization that is also making sure that health information is cracked down. Health misinformation is actually cracked down, because after the COVID, we realized some of the misinformation to the point of a whole president telling people to drink bleach because of COVID. And that became very petrifying, because people find the person who put that information out there as a trustworthy person, because he's a head of one of the most powerful countries in the world, you know. So for him to put that information over there, and lo and behold, some people went and did it, and it led to that. So what, as healthcare professionals, what are we doing? We should be able to step into this space and to be able to become the disruptors of all this misinformation, and rather own it. Because right now, the world is moving digital. And that is part of a project that I want to actually pursue, to make sure that healthcare professionals find their voice on the media, to make sure that if any information is put out there and it's wrong, we're able to make a video to debunk it. Because with me, my video is not about targeting people to demystify or to debunk it. But if I find any video that is debunking or demystify, I'll make sure that I comment underneath it to drive that attention away from that video, to make people know the reality. Because if I don't do that in reality, me being the healthcare professionals, I'm going to be the one who is going to be at the stinging end of this whole mess.
And I like the fact that you said you don't talk about things that does not resonate with you, of which, if I watch your YouTube channel, you have the ones that you talk things of which are related to you, and the ones which are not related to you, you bring in guests.
Yes.
And your YouTube channel is?
My YouTube channel, if you go on YouTube, it's Osei Owusu Kwame. And if it's not written at OK Shelf, that's not my channel, because I've seen that there are a lot of other channels which I created in the past, but it wasn't successful. But the one that is the current one is Osei Owusu Kwame at OK Shelf. And to even add more to it, the name of my podcast is The Shelf Conversation. So that is the page. That's my official page. And hopefully one day it will get verified.
In your work profession and in your mental health activism
role. Yeah.
What is the biggest misconception about mental health?
Thank you very much, Fiifi, for asking this question. One of the biggest misconceptions, which I've addressed some of the misconceptions, is that people become less of humans when they develop a mental health condition. And my day-to-day activity on the ward, I see a lot of my clients or service users. I don't call them patients because that is a language that drives people away because they don't want to be referred as a patient because psychologically they believe they are not. And we have to understand them because it's a condition that some people have to live with it for the rest of their life. So for them to be called a patient, that means you have to call them patient for the rest of their life. They prefer to be called service users or clients, which makes it much psychologically much of a befitting and appealing to them. So on my day-to-day activity on the ward, sometimes there's something called ward run. Ward run is basically bringing the client into a room and we assess them. You have to bring your understanding to the level of the person because one of the key personal values that you should have is patience. You should have patience to be able to understand what the client is saying. We do understand what the client might say might not make sense. Sometimes they will tell you, oh, I just had a conversation with Jesus. I just had a conversation with this person. Meanwhile, the person might be dead. Because you are the person who has learned about the condition, you shouldn't think that entirety you know more than the person experiencing it. What you have learned from the textbook might manifest differently from what you're going to see in reality about the person. So as I made mention about it, that the person say, I just met Jesus, don't just abruptly cut the person off. What were you discussing? Describe how you saw it, It will tell you to be able to understand the in-depth of the hallucination, the visual hallucination they're having, or the auditory hallucination they're having. That's how you get information from the person. You need to bring it to their understanding. We all know clearly that it's not Jesus that they saw, but in their world, they saw Jesus. By cutting them abruptly, they're not willing to cooperate. But maybe by following them through the conversation, what they are bringing you will help you.
Things.
Exactly. It will help you through how you're going to give them treatment. Is the medication you are giving them, is it working? So it boils down to the person having the patience. So if I'm a healthcare professional who do not have patience for this client, I will not reach anywhere. I'll continue to give them the same medication, thinking it's working. But by giving them, that could also precipitate to increasing the risk of more side effects. So one of the key values that is always that is actually having that kind of misconception is patience. Another misconception is that people think that, oh, how can I work on a mental health ward? They have this whole kind of perception to the point that they think our life, our day-to-day life is absolutely in danger. I'm not going to say that the environment is a friendly environment because sometimes you will get a client hurling a lot of abusive words at you. You could be affected, and when you're affected, we have got the pastoral care to help you out. And at the same time, in terms of safety, we have got safety alarms. And most of the time, we assess the person. If we know that this person carries a higher risk of, violence, abuse, all of those kind of stuff, we make sure how we go around the person. We're not going to allow one person to go. We might end up saying that go with this person, go with this, which means that the safety of us is also paramount. So it's not like we are too much at risk. It's not like it's a ward or it's a field that no one can work at. And the last one that I would actually end up putting out there is you need to have passion for that particular field. Because if you don't have passion, forget about your degree that you have. If you don't have passion for humanity, you can never, ever do that kind of work. Because some of the stuff that you're going to see with your eyes, some of the words you're going to hear, some of how you have to start to have the empathy, start thinking, if this person was my family member, how would I want them to be treated? If you are not going to treat a family member that way, then don't treat this person this way. You get what I'm trying to say? So all these are some of the misconceptions that are surrounding the field of mental health that lots of people do not talk about that I've shared.
Kwame, I mean, you have been featured on Focus on Africa.
Yes.
Of which I must congratulate you on that.
Thank you.
Which year was that?
That was after I received my Diana Awards in 2022.
Okay.
And even the response is something that really like shook me.
Okay.
I was just trying my very best, because when you win the Diana Awards, which is the most prestigious award that every young person can actually have for their volunteerism, for their time of youth advocacy, and I won it for youth leadership and mental health advocacy. So I sent that email to BBC Studios that I'm a young person, I've won this, because part of the award after you win is they want us to publicize it, go out of your way, start engaging with the media and all of those. So when I sent the email, the person that received it with open arms. We started, brainstorming how we want to actually do it. So the day that I was scheduled, I was even at work and I had an appointment as well. So I had to quickly try and juggle the opportunity in. And it's still something that is very close to my heart, because I just sat in front of the BBC studio, because I've been listening to BBC Africa for a longer period of time. Big ups to the late Kwame Osei, who have always inspired us, and I'm a big follower of his work when he was alive. And the day that he passed on, it was something that really hit me personally, because he has been able to raise the bar of journalism very high when it comes to the African space, not only Ghana. So a young guy like myself, and how he carries himself, his demeanor was something that all the time I was always looking at him. I always want to watch his program. So for me to be in that kind of studio, it was something that really made me realize that dreams do come true. Because if Kwame Osei was alive, I believe I would have met Kwame Osei in the office, which would have been a very, very big thing. But all the people that I met, one of the presenters I met, he's the one who had the interview with the former president of Ghana, Nana Addo Dankwa, which really became a national conversation, because the conversation became very a bit geopolitical. So it gained a lot of attention. So me seeing Peter, which right now he doesn't work with BBC any longer. Yes, Peter Okocha, yeah. He's one of my so when I went to BBC Africa and I saw Peter, I had this banter with him. It was like, Peter, do you know that you have put my president into trouble? It's like, Kwame, I had to do my job. I had to do my job. And I really like understood where he was coming from. So for me to come to BBC, and it made me see the behind the scenes. So it made me understand, when when we are watching BBC News and you can see people behind, it's not a green screen. It's real. It's real people
sitting there.
In front of the news, it's real people. And behind all the movements that you see, people may think it's green screen. It's real people walking. So when I was going there, they were featuring the 12 o'clock news. So if I've gone closer, I would have appeared on the screen.
I've never been to BBC, but I've been to Sky before.
I've been to Sky as well.
So
and
Sky also has the same thing. So
fantastic.
you may think, is this a
real
TV behind them or something like that?
But it's the office that is just a glass that is separating. So walking over there, the whole experience of walking into the BBC building made me feel like, is this a dream? Because dreams do come true. And sitting behind the microphone and having this conversation with some of the best broadcasters and the presenters, asking me some of the thought-provoking questions, and made me realize, because I didn't know where they picked the information from, but some of the questions that they were asking me made me realize that the person has done a very detailed research about my work. So for me to be given the opportunity to speak on BBC made me realize how much of acceptance that this work has. And one of the things that I didn't really had the thought about of going in my next step was how they thought about how my work is going to affect Africa next. Have I got anything next?
That comes to my next recommendation.
Yes.
You are based in London. UK, but your content is content that resonates with people both here and there. You are not discriminative when it comes to your content. You can touch on a topic that, for instance, we're talking about this tablet called
Red, which is tramadol,
which is affecting a lot of young people in Africa.
Yes.
But I don't think tramadol is being used extensively here in UK as compared to
tramadol is actually used, but in the context at which tramadol is used over here, it's not the same as it's been abused. Let me give the viewers a context. So tramadol is a controlled drug. When I say a controlled drug, it's a drug that requires a lot of law and a lot of restrictions from its use, because you have to go through certain legislations, i.e. you have to have a prescription, which is called a CD script, and it has got a lot of law governing it compared to your green prescription that you see in the UK, because that prescription has got a shelf life of 28 days, right? So when that prescription is written, within 28 days, it has to be able to get dispensed. And how is get even dispensed? Myself as a pharmacist, I have to make sure that I'm reading through it to make sure that the right quantity, the right strength, and even the indication has to be something that is being meant for its purpose. And also, in terms of the prescriber, I have to do all these kind of digging, which means there's a lot of restriction, because for me, as a healthcare professional, to make the error of letting the tramadol land into the wrong hands puts my job on the line. So for me to see it being used loosely on the streets of Ghana, whereby the young people use it for different or variety of reasons known to them, which some of the research I did was some of them are using it for as an enhancer to boost their strength enhancer, to do other stuff known to them, which some of them I can't see in front of the camera, So when I saw it, it became very deeming as someone who is, one, help to crack down health misinformation, two, as someone who wants healthcare information to be able to reach people, to be able to educate them, and three, tramadol is one of the medications that is extensively used within the mental health field. So which means it falls within my scope, whereby overusing it or misusing it has got its own consequences. Henceforth, I have no option than to add my voice to it. And even beyond mental health, I'm actually a big advocate of public health, which mental health falls under public health as well. So I may have to make sure that if such a thing or such a menace is, destroying our society, especially no other place than in Ghana, I have to add my voice to it. And it's actually affecting the young people, the youth, So I made sure that I add my voice to it and let people to understand. And thanks be to God, the Minister of Youth is doing well, whereby they launched this campaign about making sure. But I believe there are more work to do, which is the next phase of my work, to be able to collaborate with more forces back in Ghana to make sure that this is tackled in totality. We are not leaving any loopholes for people to be able to get access to this medication. I'm not saying 100% we can get it off, because there's something called black market, which here, even in the UK, some of the qualified pharmacists are involved in that. And lo and behold, some of them get caught and they lose their license for practicing all these. But what I'm trying to actually end up doing is, at least, even if 80% of our media is infiltrated with misinformation in health, by me doing my work, I want it to be, hopefully, to be, realistically speaking, to be cut down from that 80% to at least, let's say, 25%, which means it's been a massive gain for a lot of people. And even the 25%, I believe if most people are getting access to good health information and good access to health, I believe all these would end up be cut down in totality.
Yeah. Kwame, I like the fact that you did mention of the one of the misconceptions about mental health is about patience.
Yes.
When someone goes through depression, at certain times in that person's life, that person might exhibit some characteristics or behaviors that might feel like, okay, you're doing too much, you're doing this. How does giving grace to people mean to you as a health
Um,
professional?
I will always tell people this, that do what you can. We cannot change people entirely. Let me give a scenario. There's this kind of skill that we get taught when we are doing our first aid training, whereby the first thing or part of our routine is to check danger. Why are you checking danger? You are checking danger because you want to make sure that you are not trying to save someone and put yourself into trouble. I'm not here to help rescue someone and give someone a CPR, right? Meanwhile, we are doing the CPR by the side of the road that if a car is coming, both of us can lose our life. Why should I put myself in there? So assessing yourself and realizing that I can support this person is one of the big advice I give to people. You don't want to draw yourself into a space whereby you yourself have not healed. You have got a cut. You have been told that when you have got a cut and there's an accident, make sure that you are not putting yourself in danger by allowing any form of blood transfusion or blood contact between your cut and the person. If you don't take care, you might give that person an infection that they didn't dream of or they didn't think of getting. Though you are doing the right thing by saving the person, but by saving the person, you have maybe given the person an infection, or which is a blood-borne infection, or you or someone have taken something from someone. So all the time, you have to make sure that you assess yourself. Can I help the person, or do I need to signpost the person? The least that you can actually end up doing is actually having a hearing ear to the person by not judging the person. Because if someone is actually experiencing a challenge, a mental health challenge, you don't want to tell the person, stop talking, you're talking too much. That is the worst thing you can ever do. It's a killer. Because what you have done is you are trying to invalidate the person's emotions. You're trying to make the person feel like what they're experiencing is wrong. And by doing so, you are gaslighting the person. Because you start to make the person think what they're experiencing. Is it a reality or are they doing too much? Give the person a hearing ear. If you feel like it's too much, the worst that you can do, or the least you can do is to pat the person's back, letting them know. You know that this could be beyond them. This could be a lot for them to encounter. But one thing that you can assure them is that there's nothing that is beyond what they're going through. And lo and behold, you can get them to be able to seek for help. By doing that, you are showing the person that there's help available, but you might not be the person to provide the help. So you are giving the person hope that let's seek for help. Let's fight. You're giving the person a reason to be alive. Because you might be the last person that a person is opening to. And by them, you shutting them and saying they're talking too much and they harboring it. You are doing the person a disservice and you're doing the society a disservice. Because the next moment, if they're having a suicidal ideation, they will do it. They'll make sure that they enact it. If they're experiencing having a harm on person, on someone, you have contributed to it. Maybe the last thing that you could have actually done is to talk to the person, calm them down, encourage them to seek for help support, rather than brushing their emotion and making it feel like they're doing too much. You might be going through some stuff as well. With me, sometimes when I'm going through stuff and people present their stuff to me, I give them a hearing ear. I let them, I encourage them, and I make sure that I'm not trying to make it worse, but I try my very best to make sure that the person gets the help and the support that they need without me making them feel like they're doing too much or there's no hope for them, you know? Because at that initial stage, they might be going through a challenge. It's not an illness. But by you not helping, by making it worse for them, it could actually plunge them to develop a mental health illness, you know, which is unfortunately the position that some people have found themselves, and they have to take a medication for the rest of their life. So that is something when I say that people need to give people a hearing ear and give them grace. Even if you can't do anything, at least you know how to call 911. Sorry, 911 is American. 999 or 111. You can actually call any of these emergency services if it's very critical that these people need help. If it's not as critical, encourage the person to speak to their GP, speak to a nearby healthcare center. They'll be able to signpost the person to be able to get the treatment. By you doing that, you have shown the person that you care about them. You have shown the society that you care about the society. You have shown yourself that you have given yourself the grace of saving someone. I've been in a position whereby someone wanted to take their life on the North Circular Road. I have no option than to just put my car somewhere. I don't know the person, but to speak life to the person, grab the person, the ambulance service came and they took the person away. To me, that is a way of me, as much as I put or I come out and say I'm a mental health advocate, that is what I mean. I have to live by the actions, by making sure that people out there are often safe. I've never met the person again, and I don't think I'm going to meet that person ever in my life again.
But you are so proud of yourself for doing that.
Yes, because it was a split of a second, and God was like, either you drive off and go home, you don't know this person, walk off.
Someone will go like, what is my business here?
That's my business here. But it's a road I usually use. And lo and behold, I would have heard on the news that someone took their life on the North Circular.
And you would have said, I wished I stopped.
Sometimes we don't need to wish. Sometimes we just have to act.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes we have to act. And no one would have known that I was within that vicinity, you know, but my guilty conscience will beat me to the core that I myself will come out and bait myself out. But today the person might be alive or is alive and would be able to know that they tried to take their life and someone who didn't know them managed to get them from taking that worst decision they could have actually done in their life. You know, so those are some of the stuff that, you know, I've made mention. And when I was assessing whether I can help the person or not, I have to check around. Is the person even carrying a weapon? Because you don't want to have that humanity sense of it, of trying to help this person, and the person will harm you.
Okay.
So the paramedics were there, everybody was there, but I saw that the paramedics need help to be able to get the attention of the person. And, you know, they said there's power in numbers. And with that collective effort, we're able to get the person to the ambulance, and North Middlesex was just right by there, and they were able to call more help. And they were able to get the person back on the ward. So these are some of the stuff that with me all the time, I look out there, and it has helped me to become less judgmental of people. It has made me become more understanding of people, but that doesn't mean it has made me become more tolerant of people, because I have to also have that boundary of making sure that I am not also putting a burden of what people are actually hurling on me to have an effect on my own mental health. It has made me become more conscious of my mental health as well. It has made me become more conscious of the mental health of other people around me. It has made me be mindful of the words I say. It has made me become very, very, very emotionally intelligent on how to react to people.
Kwame, it's been like this whole interview content has really turned into something else. So I think we have to have a part 2 to continue, because I was thinking we are going to do 30 minutes but it's like almost 1 hour, which is good. The whole personality interview is really in depth. Now to end this whole conversation, right? Sometimes our past will haunt us.
100%.
What advice can you give to anybody watching to turn his past from bitter to better?
Fantastic. Talking about the past, we all have a past.
Yeah.
We all have a past. And anybody who is watching this, who's going to have the opportunity of watching this interview would know who I was when I was young. If I was born in this country, I believe I would have been written off. I'll be honest with you. I would have been written off. Why am I saying this? Because some of the stuff I did in the past when I was young was really, really scary. Sometimes whenever I even think about it, I ask myself, what was going over me? But it's all about understanding yourself. Let me give you a perfect story. When I was young in Ghana, they would say class 1, but over here they would say year 1 in primary school. I was playing with this person who took me as a brother, and through replaying, I was a very hyperactive kid. I was holding a toy, and I don't remember what happened, what the person did to me, but I ran after the person and I threw this toy as a kid, subconsciously. The person had a cut on the nose. Even to date, I still actually question, how come a toy I threw behind the person give a cut? It doesn't make sense. So it turned me to become that kind of CSI, to have this in my brain that it doesn't. But who am I? At the end of the day, the person has got injured. So they framed it on me. this thing I'm talking about is how many years? It's 20 plus years. I was a kid. But guess what? The rumor actually circulated in the school that I'm a dangerous person.
Oh, yeah.
She shouldn't get closer to me. And as a young guy, as a kid.
Class 1, that is like 6 years, 5 years.
Yeah, I'm trying to say.
They
classified me as well.
Yeah.
They labeled me. And that's why I'm saying that if I was in this country, I believe I would have been written off. If I was born in this country, or this incident happened in this country, I would have been written off, like completely. They would have tagged me as a dangerous person, you know, that I don't think I would have been able to fight back. Maybe I might have to actually migrate out of the country and go start my life elsewhere. So this whole thing actually, you know, circulated. Deep inside, I felt that kind of empathy for the person. Even I wish I can get closer to the person to say, I'm so sorry. I couldn't. Because that time they have demonized me, they have made me look like that. So think about, I've lived with this thought from class 1 up until 2022. Vast number of years, right? But every time I'm there, it pops into my head. I even shared it with some of my friends that there's something that happened in my past. And I wish one day God will grant me the opportunity of meeting the person to apologize, you know. So God knows my heart that I was very, very apologetic about it. And they think that I was very nonchalant about it, but they didn't know what I was going through because no one actually gave me the hearing ear. I was a kid, but no one gave me that hearing ear. And with this tag on me, it was quite sad. It's very heavy because I used to see this person at school, but I can't get closer to the person. It's basically, let me describe it this way. It was basically like a restraining order that had been put on you from the person. And when you have got a restraining order, you cannot step beyond your boundaries. Yeah. So one day I came to South London and there is one of the people I know from Ghana who's like a big brother to me. We were having the conversation. And as we were there, I chip in this conversation because this person was a mate to that person. So when I chip, just like, wait, are we talking about the same person? I said, yes. He was like, bro, I never heard about this when we were in Ghana. Because when we were in Ghana with him, no, he wasn't someone who I used to get closer to, but as we were growing, I got closer to him because he was very quiet, have that kind of demeanor, and we built our relationship from there on social media. So when I met him and we were having that conversation, just like, this is so funny. It's like, I've got a number. She's a very good friend of mine, and I can put you on call. So I was like, yeah, I really wish. So he called him because that time I felt like, you know what, whatever I was feeling is getting closer of it being relieved. So he called the person and he was like, he started the conversation. It's like, I've got someone over here. You might not know him. He mentioned my name. I was like, no, it doesn't sound familiar. And he gave me a description. He was like, oh, him. That's a long, long time. He still remembers. And he was like, yeah, he says, yeah, he wants to speak to you. And I spoke to her. That same year, that same time that we met, I was going to Ghana. I think either the following month or the same, because it was in December that we met. So I think I went to Ghana in December. So I got her number, we were chatting, and I met the person in flesh in Kumasi. We sat down, we had a conversation. She's now married, she's now a mother, you know. And she told me, Finn, and she said, out of her mouth, she told me that she didn't have any grudges against me. Even after the injury, she still saw me and took me as the younger brother. Nothing changed, but it was the teachers who put that tag and warned her not to get closer to me because I'm a dangerous person. But when we met, it was just very, very mutual. We're in touch, but I've lost the number, but I need to get the number again. And that past that I had, right, it haunted. It didn't have any mental health toll on me, but it made me feel like I've wronged someone in the past and I'm praying. And to me, I'm even grateful to God that I was able to see this person sit down, brush everything off, become more happy about it, about the situation, that how I perceive it or how it was perceived is not how the person perceived it. Because the person was open. Because if the person still find me dangerous, the person wouldn't come out of her house and meet me at this space, want us to actually catch up and everything. Even she said she thought that I've even left the country after the incident. But I stayed in the country some years later because she also wanted to see me, to check up on me on how I'm doing and everything. Because after the injury, we never ever got closer or have that kind of banter any longer. So that past really, pushed me. And as I said, I am actually grateful to God because how many people, wrong people in the past, and are able to see the person and apologize, by me giving myself the grace and helping, it was able to actually help me. The same thing applies to other people. Maybe they might not be able to see the people who might have hurt them or who they have hurt to be able to actually ask for apology. But one thing that I was giving myself the grace for is as a Christian, I have this principle that, which as Catholic, which you are as well, we have this penance that we go to whereby we're able to say the wrong that we have done. And even at the beginning of our service, it is actually shared that, which is part of the saying about the prayers, is that even through our thoughts and in our words, if we have wronged someone, may God forgive us, for us to be able to receive the Holy Communion. So we have this kind of notion that by we professing our sins, God has forgiven us. How much more me being a kid, didn't have any conscience, and I'm waking up and having these kind of thoughts. It means God has forgiven me a long time ago, But even after the penance, one of the things that the priest actually does is he encourages us that if we can go and apologize to the people, let's apologize. Whether they take the apology or not, that is between them and God. You get what I'm trying to say? So I believe people need to give themselves the grace of accepting that certain things are done out of error, right? And if the person ends up apologizing or forgiving someone does not mean you have to return to the old ways with the person, because to me, I always say this, holding the grudge with someone mentally, physically, psychologically, spiritually is a block. Because holding a grudge in your heart against someone is you carrying the weight. And it will going to have an effect on your cardiovascular system. It's going to pour a lot of pressure on you. Your heart is going to start beating faster. And when it starts beating faster, it means your blood is circulated around your whole body under an intense pressure. And if that is happening, what is going to happen is it's going to have effect on your blood vessels. It's going to have, because blood is pumping under that intense pressure, how part of our vessels is designed is not to carry blood under intense pressure. It can break. It's like a pipe. Imagine we have got a pipe over here and we are pouring water through and it's gushing. As it's going, the pressure that the water is carrying can make a small break. And if it breaks, what is going to happen? It's going to cause leakage. And what's this leakage going to happen? The leakage is going to form something called plaques, which means when the plaques actually form, it means that the speed at which this blood needs to flow is now being blocked. And if this thing is blocking, it means less blood or less oxygen is reaching your blood cells and is reaching your other parts of your body. That is what slowly leads to stroke. So sometimes if you don't take care, we allow the past to steal our present and our future, health-wise, emotional-wise, mentally, spiritually. Sometimes we need to have or develop the skill of forgiving ourselves, because we beat ourselves too much of being perfectionists, and in the end, we tend to destroy ourselves, So we have to come to terms of certain things that have actually happened in our past and be able to reflect and be able to give the grace to forgive ourselves. Sometimes the people might forgive us, but we don't want to forgive ourselves, and we are dealing ourselves with that kind of harm. And I believe that is something that will help us to be able to deal with our past, because what's happened in the past, we can't change it. But what's happening in our present and the future ahead of us,
that's what we can.
We can. What's happening in the past might still have consequences in our present and our future. But we have to find ways and means of dealing with it to make sure that it does not steal the entirety. It's like someone committing murder, right? Committing murder and the person serving their sentence. They've served their sentence, but deep within them, they feel like they could have done something about it. And also, some people need the help.
Mm-hmm.
Some people cannot automatically forget about what's happened in the past. That's when a therapist comes in.
Mm-hmm.
So having a professional therapist will help to talk you through certain steps that you need to take in order for you to be able to overcome that past which keeps on haunting you. So by putting all these steps in place, I believe there can be a turning point in that person's life, that trauma will not hold them back, but it will be a testimony that they would use as a launching pad to help other people heal.
Yes, I like the word, the phrase turning point. Kwame, it's been a lovely conversation.
Thank you, Fiifi.
And we must have a part 2. We had a part 2 inserted in this whole production, but the conversation and getting to know you was like, do you know what? There's more in-depth for us to discuss. And the next, the next content will be giving back to society.
It's all about giving back. It's all about giving back.
Even today, you've given a lot about your whole channel, your whole profession, your whole activist, and the awards that you've won. And I pray for more awards.
Amen.
And this year in the mental health and mental health lifestyle space, I mean, Kwame, the channel again.
The channel is Osei Owusu Kwame on YouTube, and on YouTube I've got my podcast, The Shelf Conversation, which can easily be found. So that is the space that you'll be able to see more of my content. And if YouTube is not your cup of tea, I'm also present on Instagram at BIGQUAMMY, Big Kwame, and also for my sole content creation page, which is OOK.SHELFOOK Shelf. I'm available over there, and on professional channel like LinkedIn as well is Kwame Osei Owusu, where I also post a lot of my content. I'm able to relate to the professional side of how I can also support other people's mental health. So yeah, I'll be happy if you're able to support me and allow this platform to grow globally, because my work, I'm not only doing it for those in London or those in Ghana. I'm going for a global movement, because if we are able to tackle mental health globally, all of us will be able to have a safe mental health as well.
Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you, Fiifi.
Thank you very much for coming. It's nice to be important, but very, very important to be nice.
Sure.
Make sure to comment if you like this video.
Yes.
And like, share. Sharing is caring. Kwame has shared a lot of information today. That's, guys, you need to share to the whole world. And also follow him on his YouTube channel and social media platform. It's on the screen, guys.
Yeah.
From us, we say bye.
And if you like this t-shirt, Purpose, please, on Instagram, let me say it well, the page very well, is Chosen from Zion. You can actually get one of these t-shirts, because
Chosen from Zion
on Instagram.
Guys, it's on the screen, and the contact details on the screen. So if you want, purpose. It's
all about purpose.
Everything is about your purpose.
Yes.
So feel proud of your purpose in life.
And it's a Christian merch as well. So let's support the Christian merch, because whatever that we manifest and whatever that we see about ourselves and whatever that we wear tends to reflect on us as well. So let's support them.
Purpose. Purpose. Guys, thank you very much once
Thank you.
again. Okay.
Much appreciated.
This show was brought to you by Studio 88 Live.